Alright, today we're going to page 99 to 101, part 1, 1 to 14 all, 24 to 36 even, and part 2 is 38 to 54 even. It's going to be pretty simple stuff. Things we're going to have to know. You have to know that the degree is the highest exponent. You're going to have to know the leading coefficient. It's the number with the variable of the highest exponent. So it's not the exponent itself, it's the number in front. And then you're going to have to know that end behavior is going to be broken down into odd and positive. And I'm going to show it with arrows. So I'm going to say if it's odd and positive, it's going to go down and to the right, up and to the left. If it's odd and negative, that's going to be flipped. So it's going to go up and to the left, down and to the right. If it's even and positive, it's going to go up and to the right, up and to the left. If it's even and negative, it's going to go down to the right, down to the left. The other things we have to do is how to identify a polynomial function. So a polynomial function is just a fancy way to say any function that has exponents or has variables and exponents. But there are some things that will help you. So if the variable has one of the following: not a polynomial function. So if there is a fraction, a negative exponent, so if a variable has a negative exponent, or it has a fraction exponent, not a polynomial function. If the variable is in the denominator of a fraction, not a polynomial function. If the variable is in an exponent or in a radical, not a polynomial function. Alright, so number 1 says identify the degree, type, leading coefficient, and constant term of the following function. Now the degree, the highest exponent is 4. That's why the degree is going to be 4. Now the leading coefficient, I'm just going to write LC, is always right in front of that variable with the highest exponent. So I see the x to the 4th, I look and I see it's negative 5. Now the type is based on the degree. So this right here, this 4 tells me that it's going to be called a quartic, is what we were told in class, like 4 quarts in a gallon. Constant term, that's the number with, so the constant is 6. And that's it. Explain end behavior. So end behavior is the direction of the graph as x gets really big, moves to the right, It's the same thing. Or not or. And as x gets really small, moves to the left. Alright, 3 through 8 say that determine if it's a polynomial function. If it is, make sure it's in standard form. So for number 3, we have f of x equals 8 minus x squared. It is a polynomial function because it's not breaking any of those rules we talked about. But it's not in standard form, so I have to rewrite it. I have to put the biggest exponent first, then the next biggest. So remember, standard form says the exponents greatest to least. Or I say count down to 0. Alright, f of x equals 6x plus 8x to the 4th minus 3. So it is a polynomial function. But it's not in standard form, so I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to put the 8x to the 4th first. I would look for a cubed exponent next. There isn't any. I would look for a squared. There isn't any. So I put the 6x next. Then I'm left with minus 3. Done. That's it for 4. 5. I have g of x equals pi x to the 4th plus radical 6. It is a polynomial function. That radical does not know variable, so it's allowed. Alright? It is in standard form. So I'm done. I don't have to do anything with it. Because the biggest exponent, then no exponent. That's it for 4 and 5. Also for 3, 4, and 5, I forgot to say that the degree, leading coefficient, and type. So number 3, the degree was 2. The leading coefficient was negative 1. And the type is a quadratic. Number 4, it was degree, which is 4, which makes it a quartic. That's the type. The leading coefficient was 8. Number 5, the degree was 4, which makes it a quartic. The leading coefficient was pi, which is okay. You're allowed to have a number as a, even though it's pi. Alright, number 6, not a polynomial function because negative exponent. Alright, so that's why. Alright, number 7 is a polynomial function. The degree is 3, which makes it a cubic. The leading coefficient is negative 5/2. You're allowed to have a fraction as long as there's not a letter in the bottom of it. It's not. And it's already in standard form because the biggest exponent is written first, then the next biggest, then no exponent. Alright, that's it for 7. Alright, number 8, not a polynomial function because variable in the denominator right here. Alright, that's why. And that's it for 8. Alright, number 9, I have f of x equals 5x cubed minus 2x squared plus 10x minus 15. I'm going to plug negative 1 in for x. Everywhere I see an x, I put negative 1 in parentheses. If you want to type it into your calculator just like this, you're more than welcome to. I have to do negative 1 cubed, that's negative 1, times 5 is negative 5. So make sure you do the exponents first. Negative 1 squared is positive 1, so that's minus 2. Minus 10, minus 15. I get minus 10 minus 15, it's minus 25. Minus 5 is minus 30, so it's minus 32. Alright? Make sure you have work. 10. I have f of x equals 8x plus 5x to the 4th minus 3x squared minus x cubed. This time, x equals 2. So I'm going to say 8, instead of x I put 2, plus 5, instead of x I put 2 to the 4th, minus 3, instead of x I put 2, then it's squared, minus 2 cubed. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 to the 4th is 16 times 5, which is 80. So I did 2 to the 4th first, which is 16, times 5 is 80. 2 squared, I did that first, that's 4. That's minus 12, minus 8. I add those all together, I end up with 76. Alright, g of x equals 4x cubed minus 2x to the 5th. So I put 4. Instead of x, I put negative 3 cubed minus 2. Instead of x, I put negative 3 to the 5th. I have to do the exponents first, so I have to do negative 3 to the 3rd, negative 3 to the 5th. So I have 4 times negative 27, because that's what negative 3 to the cubed is, minus 2 times negative 243, because that's what 3 to the 5th is. 4 times negative 27 is negative 108, plus, because it's a negative times a negative, is 486. Negative 108 plus 46 is equal to 378. That's it for 11. Alright, number 12, I have 6x to the 3rd minus 25x plus 20, where x equals 5. So I'm going to plug in 5 for x, so I get 6 times 5 cubed minus 25 times 5 plus 20. I get 6 times 125 minus 125 plus 20. I get 750 minus 125 plus 20, which is equal to 645. And that's it for 12. Alright, h of x equals x plus 1 half x to the 4th. Now I'm going to plug in negative 4. So I say negative 4 plus 1 half, negative 4 to the 4th, plus 10. I have negative 4 plus 1 half. Negative 4 to the 4th is positive 256, plus 10. So I have negative 4 plus a half of 256 is 128, plus 10. Negative 4 plus 10 is positive 6, plus 128 is 134. G of x equals 4x to the 5th plus 6x cubed plus x squared minus 10x plus 5x equals negative 2. So I put 4 instead of x, I put negative 2 to the 5th, plus 6 instead of x, I put negative 2 to the 3rd, plus instead of x, I put negative 2 squared minus 10 times negative 2 plus 5. Negative 2 to the 5th is negative 32, so it's 4 times negative 32, plus 6 times negative 8, plus 4, plus 20, plus 5. 4 times negative 32 is minus 128, plus, that's minus 48, plus 4, plus 20, plus 5. Combine all my terms. Negative 128 minus 48 is minus 176, plus 29 is equal to negative 147. And that's it for 14. Alright, so I look at this. I know the end behavior. I look at this graph. Goes down to the left and up to the right, just by looking at the graph. If I see end behavior that goes down on the left, I know the degree has to be odd because it's going opposite directions. I know that the leading coefficient has to be positive. So I look at that, and that's number 8. That's answer A. 26, very similar. They give you a graph that looks like this. It has end behavior that goes up and to the right, down to the left. That tells me that the degree is odd because they're going opposite directions. The leading coefficient must be negative because it's going down and to the right, and up and to the left. All right, that's it. 28. I'm just finding m behavior. So I have f of x equals 10x to the fourth. The degree is 4, which is even. The leading coefficient is 10, which is positive. Even and positive is pretty simple. They go the same direction, and they both are going to go up and up. So up and to the left, up and to the right. That's it. All right, 30. I have f of x equals negative 2x cubed plus 7x minus 4. The degree is 3, which is odd. The leading coefficient is negative 2, which is negative. So the end behavior, if it's odd and negative, goes up and to the left, down and to the right, and that's it. 32. Very similar. I have f of x equals 3x to the 10th minus 16x. The degree is 10, which is even. The leading coefficient is 3, which is positive, which means it goes up and to the left, up and to the right. That's it for 32. All right, 34, very similar. I have degree, which is 3, which is odd. I have the leading coefficient, which is 0.2. So even though it's a decimal, it's still positive, which means the end behavior is odd and positive, so it goes down to the right, up and to the left. 36. I have f of x equals the opposite of x to the 273rd plus 500x. The degree is 273, which is odd. The leading coefficient is negative 1, which is negative. So it's odd and negative. It goes up and to the left, down to the right. All right, so to graph, you need to find end behavior. So degree and leading coefficient. And you're going to make an XY chart with 5 points. That's it. Connect the dots, add the end behavior. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do f of x equals x to the, I lied, it's not x to the fourth, it's x to the third. So you're going to find end behavior. So degree is 3, which is odd. Leading coefficient is 1, which is positive, which means the end behavior is going to go down to the left, up and to the right. I make an XY chart. Pick negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to plug all 5 of those points in. So I'm going to put negative 2 to the third. I get negative 8. I put negative 1 to the third. I get negative 1. 0 to the third is 0. 1 cubed is 1. 2 cubed is 8. So I go left 2, down 8, put a dot. Left 1, down 1. Oh, I messed up on my first dot. Zero, 0, 1, 1, 2, 8. I'm going to connect these dots. Smooth curves. All right, I have to add the arrows. The arrow goes up and to the right. It goes down and to the left. So the arrows just go down, the graph goes on forever. And that's it for 38. 40. 40, very similar. I have x to the fifth plus 3. My degree is 5, which is odd. My leading coefficient is 1, which is positive. So it means my end behavior is going to go down to the left, up and to the right. I make an XY chart. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to put negative 2 to the fifth plus 3. So negative 2 to the fifth is negative 32. Plus 3, it's negative 29. Negative 1 to the fifth is negative 1. Plus 3 is 2. 0, 3. I plug in 1. 1 to the fifth is 1. Plus 3 is 4. 2 to the fifth is 32. Plus 3 is 35. I'm going to make my x's, my y's go by, I'm going to make my y's go by 4. We'll make them go by 5. We'll say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So I'm going to go negative 2 down to negative 29. So there's negative 29, really close to negative 30. I'm going to go 0, 3, or I'm going to go negative 1, 2. So negative 1, positive 2. So it's a little bit less than halfway. 0, 3, a little bit more than halfway. 1, 4, a little bit, almost to 5. And then 2, 35. I'm going to connect the dots. Remember, smooth curves. Now I'm going to go up and to the right. See how the graph kind of wants me to go up and to the right? I'm going to go down to the left. And that's it for 40. Alright, number 42, I have degree is 3, which is odd. I have the leading coefficient, which is negative 1, which is negative. So if it's odd and negative, it looks like it's going to go up and to the left, down to the right. I make an XY chart. Put negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Negative 2, 2 to the third, plus 5. So I get 8, negative, plus 5, that's negative 3. Negative 1 to the third is negative 1, plus 5, that's negative 4. 0, 5. I plug in 1, I get 1 cubed is 1, plus 5 is 6. 2 cubed is 8, plus 5 is 13. So now I'm gonna make my y's go by 2's. So I'm going to make these go by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So y's by 2. I'm going to go negative 2, negative 3. There's negative 2. There's negative 3. Halfway between negative 2 and negative 4. Negative 1. And that should have been negative 1, positive 4. Make sure that's a positive 4. 0, 5. 1 up to 6. 2 up to 13. So I'm going to connect the dots. Once again, it feels like my end behavior is off. Like it wants to go up and to the left, it wants to go down to the right. So I'm just going to add my end behavior. Down and to the right. Up and to the left. Alright, 44, I get the degree, which is 4, which means it's even. The leading coefficient is negative 1, which is negative. Which tells me it's going to go down to the right, down to the left. I pick my XY chart. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. I plug it in. I get negative 2. So it's the opposite of negative 2 to the fourth. So it's positive 16. It's negative 16. Plus negative 8, or plus 8 times negative 2. So I get negative 16 plus negative 16 is negative 32. Negative 1. The opposite of negative 1 to the fourth plus 8 times negative 1. So I get negative 1 minus 8. It's negative 9. 0, 0. Positive 1. I get negative 1 plus 8. That's positive. That's positive 7. And then I do 2. The opposite of 2 to the fourth plus 8 times 2. So I get negative 16 plus 16, which is 0. Now I'm going to make my x's go by, let's make them go by 5s. So or my y's, I mean. So I'm going to say y's by 5. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Negative 2 down to negative 32. There's negative 32. Negative 1, negative 9. So there's 5. 0, 0. 1 up to 7. 2, 0. Now I'm going to connect my dots. Alright, remember smooth curves. Now look, my end behavior says it wants to go down to the left and down and to the right. If you want to check your work, you can always put in, like, if you want to plug in 3 or 4, or you could plug in -4. And if that's a really, really big negative number, they tell you that you're on the right track with your end behavior. Alright, 46, same thing. Degree is 3, which is odd. Leading coefficient is -1, which is negative, which means this is going to go up and to the left, down to the right. I make an XY chart. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. I plug it in. I plug in -2, so I get +8, because the -2 cubed is -8, the opposite is +8. 3, -2 squared, so I do -2 squared, that's +4 times 3, that's +12. -2 times -2 is +4, +5. 29. -1, so I get +1. Because the -1 cubed is -1 times -1 is +1. +3 minus 2 times -1 is +2. +5. 1 plus 3 is 4. +2 is 6. +5 is 11. 0. I get 5. 1. I get -1 +3 minus 2 +5. I get -1 plus 3 is 2, minus 2 is 0, so I get 5 again. 2, I plug it in. I get -8 plus 2 squared is 4, 12, times, because 4 times 3 is 12, minus 4 plus 5. I get 5 again. Now remember, these are not lines. These are curves. So I'm going to graph my points. I'm going to change my x values. We'll say go by 4s. We'll go by 5s. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20. So each dash is 5. So y's by 5. So I go -2, or up to 29. -1 up to 11. 0, 5. 1, 5, 2, 5. So I'm going to connect my dots. Now remember, they aren't straight lines, so I'm going to go up and over. See how I made like a little S there? Now the end behavior says I'm going to go down to the right. I'm going to go up and to the left. So that's how I finish my graph. Alright, 48. I have degree, which is 4. Leading coefficient, which is 1. So I have even and positive, which means it's going to go up and to the right, up and to the left. I make my XY chart. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. I plug it in. -2 to the 4th is 16. Is positive 16. -2 squared is 4, so it's -20 plus 6. So I get 2. -1. I get -1 to the 4th is +1. 1 squared is 1, so it's -5 plus 6. 7 minus 5 is +2. 0, I get 6. 1, I get 2. And 2, I get 2. So once again, I have all these 2's here. Now remember, these are not lines. So when I graph these, I go -2 up to 2, put a dot. -1 up to 2, put a dot. 0, 6, put a dot. 1, 2, put a dot. 2, 2, put a dot. The end behavior tells me I'm going to actually use the end behavior to go up and down and up and down. See how the end behavior helps me graph this? That's it for 48. 50, 52, and 54 on your own. So 50, 52, and 54 are accuracy on your own, and there are 2 mistakes to be looking out for. All right, and that's it.